Ozzy, stop peeing in the car. Ozzy! Ozzy, stop it. Ozzy, stop. Oh my God, Ozzy. Halton police love to use is it's hearsay. I've heard that lots from them. As soon as they're questioned and they have to answer, and I also heard it from the their lawyer. In Wayne's disclosure, my race is black. I'm supposed to accept this because that's Constable Ferrono's assumption on me. Okay, mind you, it's called not educated. Obviously, he's not. I place always on all, you know, government forms, I've always placed others because I'm multi-ethnic of many, going back many generations from both sides. Truth, not bias, stereotypes matter. No one's false assumptions on race theory, or by the way, on anything, trumps the truth. The pictures that you see here are of my parents, um, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, and trust me, even the people that I think I have, there's a picture of my grandfather in that I do show, and he's surrounded by his grandkids who look white. They would be my first cousins. Guess what? They're mixed too because we have the same grandfather, don't we? Um, as you can see, you know, skin color does not actually determine your race. So that's the first thing. I just want to show what assumptions do. Someone's assumptions doesn't mean it's the truth. I'm not joking. At a Scarborough hospital, um, it was called Centenary. It's called Rouge Valley, I think now. There was Dr. Kurtz. I did bring him up because he actually crossed his hands, got extremely mad at me, and told me that he says, I know what I'm looking at, and you have to admit it to yourself that you're not mixed. And then he told me that in South America they only allow white people. Well, that's not true because many people in South America are actually very mixed. He got mad at me that my kids were mixed. He got mad at me that their dad was Italian. And I didn't say anything. I walked out and I did a report, you know, to the head who actually handled it really well, to be honest. I believe, if I can remember well, his name was Mr. Fisher. I sent him all the proof. I even had my parents do a DNA, which they most happily did for me. I sent him everything. Anyways, he did apologize to me, and that was that. He did ask me why didn't I say anything to Dr. Kurtz. The man was angry and screaming and shouting at me, so I didn't say anything. I walked out. See what happens when you don't say anything? Then it gets turned around on you, and someone goes, "Well, why didn't you say anything?" But still, yeah, I have to give, you know, the head of that department a lot of credit because he did give me an apology, you know, and I will even give Dr. Kurtz credit that he didn't lie and he didn't say he didn't say it. He accepted that he said it. So I actually give him credit that he was honest to admit that he said it to me. Which the Halton police, here we are, because now they've just done, this is complicated because the police want you to believe, and it worked on the hospital because when I was taken to the hospital, the two nursing staff treated me like if they were my wardens, like if I was in a prison. They were hostile to me and barked at me, screaming orders at me. I was actually very calm, okay, because all I actually even needed was time to calm down. I did ask that female constable, who I will later on go through some false statements she made about me, which are atrocious, decided to make certain claims. So the doctor who saw me about, we'll say 5 to 10 minutes, because he saw me for a short time. He asked me how I was feeling. He asked me if I did drugs, alcohol. I've I don't do drugs. Never have done alcohol. Okay, like I'm talking about currently, because I did obviously as a young adult, I did try it with friends, and it definitely was not for me. So, majority of my adult life, I've never taken alcohol or drugs. Okay, those things do not interest me. I was asked if I took those. I said no, which is the truth. I don't have any record of, you know, being an alcoholic or a drug user. He stated, and I don't see how someone that saw me for 5 to 10 minutes can claim all of a sudden when no other doctor has stated I have borderline personality disorder. Um, this was something he came up with, which right now I am dealing with the hospital. Um, Actually, I had to go above the hospital, and I will be dealing with that because false allegations, they stay on a person, and this is wrong. Just to meet people's stereotypes, their biased, racist beliefs. No, I will defend myself. I know the police lawyer suggested I should get a lawyer. Well, we're already paying for a lawyer because of the actions of the police, the same Halton police, what they caused to occur. And they've also made lies and assumptions that I will prove, especially creating false evidence. And I have proof of that. But I'll just let my video go on from here because I do have anxiety. So the best way for me to express myself is through video because I am a very creative person. They want to They want you to believe that I'm uneducated, that I don't take care of myself, and I'm unable to take care of myself, and I'm some sort of rat, sewer rat, which I'm not. Okay, so I've always been a petrol head. I love cars, trucks, anything with an engine basically in it. And in my statement that I sent previously, you know what? Because the picture of me being underhanded, a very leery person that one should be aware of. I'm dirty and nasty, and I've lived in my car, so I'm just like the bottom of the earth dweller. Well, these are my sports bikes. I recently sold them because, you know, to ride a bike, you have to be of clear mind. And what the police have done to us, my mind has been fucked up because it's just caused me and severe anxiety and stress that police, who you would expect them to be honest and sincere, have been just liars. And there's a lot more words I can call them. In my statement that I sent, even let's see, was it three years ago? I stated that when I was doing my welding course, some of it was practical, some was in class, and that day I sat all day. And when I was going home, hopped on my bike, and my leg cramped up. My whole body just went into a cramp for a minute, and I accidentally, my bike grazed the paint off a new SUV. Nobody was around. I myself, I went to the security. They said they couldn't help me find the owner. I went to the dean of the school. She said they sorry, they don't have a list because some people just park per day. And I waited all day into the evening till I had to go, and then I left a note on their vehicle. Days later, the person called me, and we had a long conversation. They even said, I have a CBR 600. They had a fire blade. Um, what an honest person I was. When I went down to the Whitby Reporting Center, even um, the cop there that was doing the report for me even said it's not something people do. It's that what I did. But instead, I made out to be some lowlife. And no, the police would probably say, oh, you know, who knows what they would come up with, how I got, all my sports bikes. Um, but yeah, pay for everything fully, outright. They were my bikes, fully insured, everything. Currently now, um, there is one bike I owned, and I haven't licensed it. It's just in storage, and it's a classic Yamaha Seika 650, and I have the receipts that I paid a performance shop $3,000. Rebuilt everything. It is a classic bike, so that I'm gonna actually gift to someone. The same way as we gifted the Mini Cooper that we drove down, which by the way, I have even all documents that I imported it from the UK. I paid even a company to import it for me from the UK. Um, but yet, the police are want to show the worst. And to top it off, they also added in lies. I'm really disgusted. And it's sad that the public these days, let's be honest, do not trust the police anymore. And there's a good reason for that. So, as I'm adding audio after, the video, I sort of got ahead of myself. So, I'll try and bring myself back. So, to say a bit about me, I grew up like a tomboy. If that's not hard to, if that's hard to recognize as yet, I've always loved working, on anything I could take apart. I do love, cars, trucks, motorcycles. My next thing is I want an ATV, and that's me. But anyways, as for me being not educated, well, I could take I bet any test with any of those constables on since Toronto had said to Wayne, "You're in Canada now." When he heard Wayne's accent, I wonder if he knows the history between Canada and the UK. Well, I could take a whole history test about Canada and I could pass way better than any one of them. Anyways, um, let's see. Um, I have worked for Rogers since 1998. I had to take a leave of absence because it was starting to be stressful. I did start in activations. I I did accounts receivable because they forced many of us to do accounts receivable because they didn't have enough people. That it started getting stressful. Activations was easy. After accounts receivable, they made you do customer service. After customer service, they made you do management escalations. Management escalations is terribly. Um, it's actually interesting, but it is nonstop people screaming at you. Um, I also did a photography course at Durham College. I was the head photographer of Mr., Miss, and Mrs. Pakistan Roll 2015. I did show some of the pictures. I have more, but they're on external hard drives. Um, so I was the head of that. Um, One of my photos did get, and I did show that to the cover of magazine of Mrs. Pakistan World. And let's see, I also I, I bought a motorcycle, and after paying for it, the person cut it in half. Didn't argue with them, took the bike. Um, it was 1,000 cc bike and very heavy, to be honest. I had to admit to myself there's no way I can even lift the bike because it was that heavy. But so I knew in the end I can ride a bike that's, you know, that big and weigh that much. Anyways, because I decided I had to repair the subframe, I did show a picture of that. I took a welding course. I love hands-on things I do. Um, Besides the welding course, I will get onto any truck. I was actually rust proofing both trucks that I bought during the summer. I rust proofed them both. So I'm not afraid to go on it and get dirty. Okay, but me getting dirty, going on and eat, they turned that into you filthy pig, right? But I'm not afraid to go on and eat a truck, rust proof it, and you know what? I'm pretty sure that my Canadian Tire statements should show how much I spent at Canadian Tire buying rust proof to do underneath. Did find out I love Crown rust proofing a lot because they sell it and you can rust proof it yourself. Um, let's see what else. Anyways, when that'll come into play, because I will talk later on about what that police officer in the first incident of that day did to me. But just wanted to go through that I'm not a bum. I paid for everything I have. All my vehicles have been paid outright. All my motorcycles. And as the police think this is about money, 1,200. Let's be honest. I'm not stupid. I'm not asking for anything. I'm asking because I had tried over and over to tell them this is wrong, okay, and what's happened is incorrect, you know. But I guess they just don't want to invest money. I'll explain anyways all that later. But yeah, so that's me. Um, if I'm the ideal to them, because I travel a lot, and Wayne and I travel a lot, and if that's their ideal of a homeless person that can't take care of themselves, then they're really, really either naive or homeless people live quite well. Since 2023, we have been traveling a lot across the UK, Cuba, and Canada. We even had bought a motorhome for about 5,000 quid. That's 10,000 Canadian dollars. It was actually an amazing deal. We had the best time, sometimes sleeping in it, and we used apps to book also, like Airbnbs, Expedia hotels as well. We were in Cuba last year for 2 weeks, back again to Toronto, stayed some time, and then went back to the UK. We did lots of reviews on Google, so I have Google reviews that shows where we've been, of hotels, everything. Um, I even have reviews on myself and Wayne. at Airbnbs, right? So the reviews of me when I stayed. Wayne has some on his app, but he changed his phone number and lost his phone, so can't get into his app. But I do have on mine. Um, Now, what happened is I placed a down payment on a lot in Grand Rapids, Manitoba, um, and I actually expected to already have had it way before by now. You know, I thought it would be like a month, and I would have it last year. But I have emails to prove from Trevor, who's the real estate agent for the government of Manitoba. They had some sort of election. Um, and it delayed many of the properties being transferred by the government, so they're still trying to catch up. From time to time, I do contact Trevor, and he says, you know, when they're caught up, he will get back to me. I have all those emails to prove it. Um, we were in the UK on our road trips when we saw a lot come up in Wishart, Saskatchewan. So we bought tickets immediately because it looked really good. Hopped on a plane, you know, rented a truck, and we have lots of car rentals we can show that we've done throughout our travel, you know. Um, but when we got to it, we were actually scammed with the first lot we bought because we were told it would have utilities and everything. It's a large lot, and we were told it would have the utilities. Ended up after we bought it, contacting utilities to find out it doesn't have utilities on it. So, you know, it would be like it's like old power lines, and they don't use that. It'd be like $4,000. So we thought we were going to have to do that, right? And we were like, oh my god, this is. But anyways, to make a long story short here, we ended up finding someone else who knew the person who sold us the first lot and said they knew that the person had conned us because, you know, into buying that lot, and um, they have a lot that they wanted to sell. So Wayne bought the second lot. Um, Basically, it was a gutted house, and we have been since then doing a lot of work on it because it needed major renovations. We did plastering, um, painting, plumbing, light fixtures. We even made our own furniture. We did laminate flooring, and we still have lots to do, even on the outside and inside of the house. And you know, our intention is to go to Ontario and come back and, you know, also continue it. We're both not afraid to get dirty and be very hands on. We spent so much on buying propane during that winter that even when we had the utilities turned on, we were so used to buying 4 or 5 propane tanks that out of habit we just kept on doing it, and we just had so much propane tanks that the linear co-op workers who knew we were renovating knew why we were buying so much propane taxes. Do you guys still need to buy all this propane? And then we talked about it. We were like, oh yeah, we don't need to buy propane. We have heat in our house. So, you know, thank goodness to them we stopped. Just, you know, it was just out of habit. We were buying propane, and that was like about 4 to 5 propane tanks a week, and that does cost a lot of money. Um, if you live in Ontario, you need to honestly travel to rural Saskatchewan to see how prices are doubled up here. 6 months, 6 months we had to leave for 2 weeks in keeping with the law, so we decided to go back to Cuba for 2 weeks out of the country, and we paid like $1,000 plus food for both dogs at the boarding kennel. We also went to the boarding kennel to see it, because we wanted to make sure that it was a good kennel. Um, then on our way, like one thing is when I do travel, I'm a vegan. I also have insulin resistance. It's not easy for a vegan. There's lots of food for vegetarians, but there's not a lot of food for vegans. And then I have the problem that it has to be low glycemic. And because I can't find food that matches that criteria, I end up eating French fries, which is really bad for me because it is high glycemic. But I just, you know, sometimes I just need food. Um, so that's the problem with traveling for me. So I'm not gonna take liberty and figure out anybody knows what being insulin resistant is, or having the need to eat low glycemic foods instead of having high glycemic foods, and what it does do to you and your body. Because high glycemic foods, you know, my body can't handle it, and it has too much of a fast release, of carbs into my system. My body doesn't know what to do with carbs, so it also just turns it to fat. It's a bit more complicated, but I'm going to try and break it down this way for you. People with insulin resistance experience frequent urination, increased hunger, headaches, changes in vision, and I do go constantly. I have weight gain and I also have weight loss. I go up and down with weight gain and weight loss. Um, and we do have things like skin infections sometimes, and a lot of fatigue. Okay? So when I try to, I asked um, the police officer who, from the get go, like I said, and I love how police officers leave out important information that would incriminate them. And in this case, this police officer, you know, she changes her information to what suits her scenario at the time and date. But I'm not going to get ahead of myself. First of all, if she had given me access, like I asked her twice, as soon as I saw her, I said, I have an emotional support doc and I have a letter from a doctor because I just wanted to hold him so I could calm down. She roughly, aggressively shouted at me both times, I don't care. I don't care. Okay? So that's all I needed. But that also, her aggressive nature in the beginning to me actually heightened my anxiety even more. Heightened anxiety actually also causes one to faint. Anyways, I did try to sit when I felt it coming on with the way she was acting towards me. But you know what? She changes, she said I was incoherent. So instead, she took my words and she also ad libbed words and she also added some really shocking things. I won't touch on that right now because I don't want to, get ahead of myself. But when I said, you know, about not eating, I need people with also insulin resistancy. We actually best for us to eat at least small amounts, but when you're traveling sometimes, because I'm a vegan, I'm, you know, insulin resistancy, you don't get much places that have food. And already, you have increased hungers, changes in vision, headaches, you know, and I do get a lot of fatigue, right? So I don't need, you know, chaos, and I don't need honest, obviously, you know, anybody, screaming at me, whether sober or drunk. I don't need it because that's going to get me upset. I could have calmed down if I had asked her, for the letter, that I could show her the letter so I could hold my dog. But immediately, you know what? From the get go, I guess she was just out to nail me with that mental health act. That's her solution. Halton police like to brag, because I've seen it on Facebook. I've seen it on the news. They like to brag that they teach their um, constables about it and how to handle situations. Well, I'm not sure if it's with everybody, but from what I've seen, they, yeah, that's she is the example of how they, handled people with anxiety or any type of mental health issues. And I have anxiety, I have depression, and I have OCD, and that's it. And like I said, that doctor, I am going to be taking him up because I don't know his background, but he lied and said I had borderline personality disorder, which was a shock to my doctor because she's never heard of that either. That I am going to be taking that up too. But, anyways, I just wanted to, just add that in so that one knows why when I say food, right? Food is really important in some cases, and in my situation, instead she turned it around, and I know it's going to be, well, it's hearsay, but you know what? Let's be honest. Okay, the doctor didn't come up with that whole thing about food from nowhere. It was from what he was given. Um, she said I was incoherent, so she just decided to say that I haven't eaten for, I can't feed myself. And I don't know how she randomly brought up that I've been homeless for a month. And that whole thing, first of all, we're traveling with two dogs. Um, Besides traveling with two dogs, she said I was dirty and filthy. Well, guess what? Maybe she doesn't know how to work or get underneath her car and fix things, but I do. Okay? I guess some people are only good at, manipulation of lies, but other people are actually hands-on and work and do things to their house, to their car. Um, my jacket did rip, and that's what happened with my jacket, but I wanted to wear it because it was actually, for me, my body temperature dropped, so it was a big cold, and I just wanted to wear a jacket. Secondly, she said that I was bottomless. Is she nuts? I was wearing a mini skirt. I would like to know, I need proof. If she says I'm bottomless, where's the picture? Secondly, if you're going to say, well, she didn't take a picture, then tell me who got me something to wear, who got me a sheet, and why didn't the hospital mention I was bottomless and came in with a blanket or something? Because that never happened. I was wearing my own mini skirt, which was the same mini skirt I was even wearing when I was in the truck with that incident with Ferono. So, you know, I guess as more information came along, because the freedom of information, I did send her and the other cop and the sergeant there an email, and I do have copies of those emails. Never did they reply to me. And from the beginning, the first day of the events, which you know I guess I'll explain the other events later on. Immediately, I started contacting Rika. I started calling the police station because all of this was a total shock to me. Nobody wanted to answer me. People were at that police station when you call. They're very aggressive and upset that you would even question what happened. That you would, So that's what I've experienced. So the whole manipulation and now saying that the hospital, their statements and the shelter, where the shelter, and I have that on video, said that they were told I was incarcerated and getting ready to research my dogs, especially my Yorkie. They were looking at his registered name tag to see about adopting him out. Is like mind blowing. That lies and manipulations, this is how, you could basically destroy innocent people and set them up for crimes. And because they don't want to, you know, admit, oh my God, we did something wrong, right? That's how the second incident came about. But guess what? I have evidence. And there's actually a lot of evidence um, of the manipulation of, how they planted evidence on us, and how this came out right after, even on my video, when we both told her that he just got out of the, station from being held, and nobody told us that he shouldn't be driving because he was still being intoxicated. She has that long pause. So instead of saying, oh, shit, you know, we have to take responsibility for doing this, they set up evidence. So, oh, I don't mean to be long winded, but okay. I'm going to pause there because I did start, you know, going on and rolling with information, but I'll just stop there and continue explaining a little bit more about how the first incident did come up. just wanted to thank everybody right now for bearing patience because I don't have my editing softwares and you know, my anxiety with reliving this incident is like crazy, but I'm getting there. So I'm going to take a pause, but I want to thank Ontario Audits because it's people like himself that's working to let people know their rights and also to become aware of what is occurring in Ontario police forces. They have to stand accountable, which they don't seem to believe they do have to be accountable to, citizens. So thank you, Ontario Audits.
That all citizens don't know their rights?
No, a lot of people do.
How long have you been working with Durham Regional Police?
Long time.
How long? How many years?
Long years.
How many years?
Long time.
20 years?
Long time.
15 years?
Long time.
25 years?
Long time.
10 years?
Long time.
Well, how long did it take for you to get to sergeant?
Long time.
Long time, huh? How many people's rights did you violate along the way?
None.
How many drugs have you planted?
None.
How many false DUIs did you suggest to people? Put people over
None.
and told them that you smell weed in their car before? For no reason?
No.
You one of those guys?
No, I'm not.
After walking back from the hospital, as unlike what the hospital report stated, I was not given a ride back. Or was I given information prior about where my dogs were? So I was worried and stopped at the Walmart parking lot. As they were not there, I proceeded to the police station and went in to ask the whereabouts of my dogs. The address was written down was that of the Oakville Town Hall. During that time, the woman advised me that Wayne would be released soon, so please wait, which I did. I did ask for the police station video to be saved and previewed, as I knew later on this would be very important. When I emailed, the staff sergeant, I never received a reply from him, nor the two police officers that were involved in the early morning occurrence to date about my questions and concerns. In the email to the staff sergeant, I also added links to videos and also details to the irregularities of the police statements in Wayne's disclosure that do not match with photos taken for evidence as well. I will be providing those emails for evidence as well, and to preview. When Wayne came out, he wanted to look quickly at the brochures in the station, which we did. Then we walked to the Walmart parking lot. As the Mini was having an issue, we decided to take the truck. By the way, the Mini is parked in Ontario, which still has a clutch issue that I will fix before my daughter gets it when she turns 16. It has continuous insurance since the day it arrived in Ontario last year, 2023, from the Halifax port and registered in Ontario. It is parked at the address, my address in Ontario. Now, after we left the police station, I'm sorry, my mind, I drove to Oakville Town Hall after being told at the front desk information at the Oakville Town Hall that my dogs would have been taken to the Oakville Milton shelter. We went back to the parking lot where, before getting into the car, I asked Wayne to drive, as I had no sleep and also did much walking. When I was in the hospital, the reason I also thought that, well, Wayne had sleep, because they did tell me at the hospital I couldn't talk to Wayne because Wayne had passed out and he fell asleep. The following is video clips, and I'm going to break down the video clips to show the scenarios that they placed in the disclosure are extremely questionable. It was all mostly their feelings and emotions and not the truth. And to cover up for those mistakes, then lies, which resulted in, the falsifying of fake evidence, and I can prove that, were then added. I will disclose more information as we review the videos. Okay, on my freedom of information, besides some other lies that are hideous that the female police officer placed. She stated that I was given a ride to the police station. I would like to see the video of me in the police car getting a ride back to the police station, because I was not. I walked from the hospital to Walmart parking lot and then to the police station. She also stated that she gave me the information of where my dogs would be. After she dropped me to the hospital, she gave me nothing. No documents, nothing at all. Um, and when I finally reached the police station, I do have the evidence that I was given the wrong address of where the dogs would be.
Well, supposedly I'm some sort of stanky bitch. So just leaving this picture because probably, the way they're trying to paint it is probably nobody wants to be around me or that I don't have friends who even my best friend would say, what the hell is she talking about? Even they tried to paint me, all of them, as an alcoholic, which we'll get into later. But I'm going to end this here and I'm going to have a part 2, which we'll go through the videos and the disclosure and how they treated myself as well as Wayne and all the lies. And I will prove it by their own videos. So see you in part 2.